So the ASX 200 here, the daily chart, as you know, we're looking at it in two different ways. First of all, we could look at it as a bullish move from wave 4 here as wave 1, an A and a B and a C here for wave 2, and we just continue to climb, so we'll keep an eye on that. The bearish side is having wave B up here, and yeah, to confirm it as a bearish move, we still need to either take it, well, initially this low and now this low, but we are bearish because of what's going on with the US banks and also our banks as well. So we're looking for a corrective rally in this space here, and if we go to the bearish count on 50k ticks, we're looking at it like this. So we can look at this as wave 1, an A and a B and a C for wave 2. The 50-60% is around a bit higher at 7.1 at that point. So let's go in and have a look at that. I'll just go straight to the 1k tick here for this, and in that space we're looking at, I think yesterday or myself I was looking at it in terms of wave 1 here with an A wave, a B wave and a C wave up here. It's possible to count 5 waves up here as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 to this particular point here, but there's also a good case to count this as 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 here, and you can see that a little bit clearer on the XJO here. So with the XJO here, this is on 15 minutes. So it does look rather sort of in 3 waves in this first move over here, but this one here is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So it looks like 1 and 2 here and 3 and 4. So I think we've still got another move to come into play, and it will be interesting after that as well, because once we've got 5 waves here, anything above that, then we can turn bullish at that point. So I'll just come back to this particular chart here. So yeah, it's possible to have wave 2 here. If that's the case, we can just short from there. With this move down through here, it can also count as 5 waves here. I mean, it looks corrective, but it can count as 5. I had a good look at that. But otherwise, it's being straightforward. It looks like a nice ABC pattern here. But anyway, that's the short trade at that particular point in time, and would look at this here as 1 and 2 in this case for a move higher. And I think we can go to the 100 ticks for that just to have a look inside of this a bit more. I think I may have done something, yeah. So we can count here just for your own counting, 1, 2, 3, and ABC for 4 here, up for 5, ABC here for wave 2, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for 3rd, 4th and 5th in here. I mean, you can kind of see how you could put this as wave 1 here, but then wave 4 would be over here, and then wave 5 up here. So like I said, it is possible to go short under here. It would still require, however, you know, some type of corrective move up here before coming down again at that point, because I can count that in 5 waves here. This is all a wave 4 here at this point. So it is doable, but otherwise we should expect another move to the upside there. So if you're going to trade to the upside there, then really we need to, if I go into, say, 20 ticks. So if you're going to do that, what you need to do is you need to understand where you're at with things. So if that's the 7,000, then we've got 1, 2 and 3 here that make up group 1, and then 5 here. So it is a little bit of a process to the upside in all of that. We've got 2 there. I'll just delete one of those. We've got 2 there. I don't know why. Let me just get in a bit more data here. Just working the trade to the upside here. So you know, it's wingled its way back up here on support, you know. Will it hold there? That's the question. But sometimes it's best just to go step by step. It does look like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here. I can see 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm a little bit unsure about this, but it is climbing. The steps along the way are obviously each level here is important, but this one here is particularly important. The top of group 1 here, wherever you see a 3, will be part of group 1, and that will also come in quite close to the 50-60% retracement level there as well for that. So there's going to be resistance at that point there for that. So I have counted this down here, and like I said, I can count it down in 5 waves, so it is possible for it to play out up here and then come back down. I mean, if you see it come back down into the 7,000 after it's been up here, then not 61.8%, not taking this from the top from here to here, coming into the 56, but actually on the 7 here, closer to it, then you know that it's bearish at that point, you know. But it should, if it came back down here, should find nice support at 10 anyway. Anyway, what I was sort of saying is that it should be a reasonable run to that particular point, and then I'd get out and just wait for a classic trading levels pattern at that point, okay, on top of group 1. If you get it, fantastic. If not, don't worry about it, and you can trade to the next level and get out because it will be hit at that point. But if it does get up there, it's going to trade high, and you could look up here at the 1 at that point. Yeah, so that's where that is. I'm going to remove all of this now because I don't often go into the 20 tick chart, and I'll probably forget it and it'll disappear into the distance and just clog up my platform in terms of how many objects I can put on the chart. But that's where we are. So the takeaway is that you can short under that low because there can be a rally up to the 30 area, 70-30, and then move back down, and then we're in a bearish mode at that point. And like I said, we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this market, but on the cash market, it looks 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 up to here somewhere, maybe the 70, 80 or something, and then it'll pull back. And if it does pull back at that, I mean, it will pull back after 5 waves anyway, but that will leave the top exposed. We can go long on, and we can go long from this point as well, and we may be able to build in over here if we can see that it's a bit of a goer over here, over this side as well. You know, we can just work if it's going to be bullish at that point. So we'll see, you know, because the bearish count's not in yet. You know, we can't confirm it yet, with both accounts still on the table, and we'll just work through them. Eventually one will reveal itself more than the other. I mean, we've been on the bearish side because we've been under the 7,000, but now we're sort of poking above it. We need to look at both sides, and then eventually just the bullish side, and so on. You know, it's just the way that you move with the river, so to speak. So yeah, still bearish side, mainly because of the US banks. I still feel there's more skeletons to fall out of the closet, so to speak. For the banks, I'm going to just look at the XXJ here, so the banking sector, just in case you're in other banks. So the thing here is we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave here, and then the fourth wave here, and then we've just made a new low here for the fifth wave. Now that fifth wave there, it could be done and dusted. It could be that we end up having this just down here as wave 1, and we go back for wave 2, and we have 3, 4, 5. That's possible, and then we have wave 4. So wave 4 and wave 5 here. So the situation is that this wave 4 here that we're looking at can come back to the wave 4 of one lesser degree. It can go. It can move up right from this low here, so that will create a rally at this point. So yeah, so if that's the case, then you may not want to hold on to your banks if you're a short-term trader. But also too, the other thing I would need to point out here too, a bit like the ASX200, the move down here so far is really just in 3 waves at this point here. So that means that it could go up at that point as an ABC here. You know, that's the that's the hard truth of the matter. Oops, a daisy. I mean, it's my job to point it out. So yeah, down to here. So that's it won't be of that degree. It'll be minor. So that's possible. You know, I'm not saying it is. The US banks are still very bearish, but you know, there's an ABC to that point. So the only way I could really figure it out is giving it time. I mean, if the top of wave 4 here of the previous wave 4 became the support, then I would kind of consider that being the place. And then we would look for long trades on top of 7,000 at that point. You know, that type of thing, you know. And hopefully we get the third wave up, and so on. So that's where the banks are at this point. So if you wanted to get out of this here, then now is the time at this point. So the next market is over to the the resources, and the US dollar is looking a bit weak actually. Let me just bring that to the table. Can I click on that? Yep. So the DXY here. So the DXY we've been talking about for ages, and in a bit of a nutshell, we've been looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave up here for wave 2. Now, it's possible that we can have this as the ABC pattern here, and that would be, we could bring wave 2 down here. It's a little bit small. I'd rather sort of consider a wave 4 at that point and then go down at that point, rather than the wave 2. So I'll leave the wave 2 there, and the wave 4 here would become more dominant. If this low gets taken out here, then that's what we'll be looking at, just to give you the heads up. And if that is the case, if this low is breached here, because we counted 5 waves here, so, and then we're looking up as 1 and back for 2 here, if, you know, it can be an A and a B and a C in here and push up, there's not a problem with that. But all I'm saying is that if this low is breached here, that's going to strengthen the commodity side of the world, and also the indices as well. So as I mentioned before, this low is critical. It's a, you know, it's a game changer. It's not like, if this was a wave 4 here, it's not a game changer for that long, because what will happen is that this will be wave 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 here, and so, or could probably do it a couple of different ways actually, but would end up down here somewhere at, well, I could just, it's not a biggie, because this is the length of wave 1 over here, you know. So it's not a big thing, down to 9.89650 into group 2 here. So it would end up down in that space here somewhere. I'll put it at 9.5 here. That's the next number at that point. So it will be down here somewhere. And then what would happen, because it does make a kind of nice wave 4 really, and I'm sort of seeing the same thing in currencies at the moment. The euro dollar, and not so much the euro dollar, I can work it into the euro dollar, but more so the pound, the cable, the sterling. So then we would have an ABC pattern at this point, and then down at that point. I mean, this is corrective to a point. I'm just not happy about this little spiky thing here, but anyway, we'll take it one step at a time. If this low is breached, that's going to strengthen the commodities. That's the takeaway, okay? So I'll push that over to there, and there's a good chance of that actually happening, and the reason for that, just by the by, is the sterling here, because we're looking up this as an A and a B and a C wave here, but we're aware that if the top here got breached, then it can give us 5 waves to the upside, or we could count it differently, it doesn't really matter, but it does give us a bit of an impulse wave to the upside, which would create further upside for the sterling, and also for the euro dollar, and further weakness for the US dollar. Anyway, we need to tie the Australian dollar into that as well, and that's looking quite bullish at the moment. Iron ore. So yeah, we're searching for a top. We got the top. We've seen the drop. We had 800 here. We're seeing a strong bounce at the moment. We can see the stochastics wants to turn up and push it up. So we can push this up for wave B here or wave 2 here. So we will see a bit of a rally here in the short term. well, maybe not. Maybe that's just a little wave 4 here and we'll come down here today. But it doesn't matter. At some point, we're going to get that rally there, and then we're going to get another move down. At minimum, it'll be like that, or we're going to be end up coming down here further. But anyway, the takeaway is we need to go up, we need to go down at this stage in the game. You know, this is not some sort of expanded flat here because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Or an ABC, well, anyway, 5 here, a bit dodgy at the end, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's not going to be like an A and a B and a C wave here, I don't think. You know, it doesn't sort of play out like that. So rallies in BHP, all of those sorts of things, and then down again. So this is BHP on the US side of things. And it's a bit like all of these markets, really, a bit like the banks as well and stuff, you know. I mean, here we've got a very clear 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I've translated this particular 5 waves over into our BHP, and we can look at it as wave 1 or 2 or an A and a B, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. So, I mean, technically we can have, you know, an ABC pattern here and then move up from that point. But I just don't have any evidence of that just yet. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, we need to look at this as wave 1 and wave 2 back here. So I'm going to watch the rally, and we're going to have a bit of a look at it. And if we're going to turn bullish, then we'll need to look at this, try to count 5 waves up here, and then we can buy the ABC pullback here. We could do it at that point, you know. If we only get 3 waves up here, well, then it'll be, you know, it'll come down at that point, and we'll have to wait for it to come down. But this will be the same with all of them at this point. So just letting you know that we can have an ABC in here, same as the ASX200, the same as the banks, and we can be turning bullish from this particular point in time. I can't confirm the bearish count. We can short under here. That would confirm it at that point. So we'll just see how the cookie crumbles. This is the same for our local BHP here. So as you know, I didn't want to let a winning trade turn into a losing trade, so we can just take these off here and find our way back in. But it's the same principle here as well. We can look at this as wave C here now, as an A and a B and a C, and we could, you know, I mean, we could just go straight up from that point. It's not what iron ore is telling me, but that's not the whole picture, the iron ore. If that dollar goes out, you know, that bottom on the dollar goes out, then this is a likely scenario. But the only way I could reasonably practically give you the green light on this is by having 5 waves up here, and that would be 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. So we'd need to see 3, 4, 5, and then we'd need to buy the pullback at that point. It'll be something like that. So you do what you need to do. If you were going to go long, then you just go long from here, and you'll just need to keep the stop under this little low here. That would be the stop at that point, and you could go long from you know, from there. If you felt like doing that, there's good volume on that, and but the dollar could just turn on it could just turn on the dime at this point, you know. From here, it can just be a little A, B, and C down here, and finishing on that 102 here and bouncing at that point. So yeah, I wouldn't make too many decisions just yet. But that's the positive and negative of the particular move down in. We've looked at the positive and negative on all of them so far, banks and ASX200, and now these guys here. Rio here as well. I was looking for a move down. I don't know if we're going to get it at this point. I mean, it's just all corrective here. I won't make any calls here on this. And FMG as well. We weren't going to do anything here unless we had, you know, under the 20 here as the retested resistance. I suppose, you know, this is just really going to follow iron ore, but at the same time, I mean, they had that meeting, didn't they, in China, you know, and Fortescue, Andrew was there with some other people and other Aussies, and yeah, so China's trying to encourage companies to come back and have more say in what's going on over there, and you know, they need it for their war machine, I guess. That's a bit funny, isn't it? It was a bit like it was reminds me of the Bank of England that was financing the Germans on the German side during the war. It sort of just reminds you that business has no boundaries. Anyway, so yeah, look, there's going to be support at 20. How it plays out, I don't know, but as always, it's just nice to wait and do nothing, because it will reveal itself, you know, like going from support, resistance to support over here, and going long here, you know, is this type of thing that we would do down here as well. And it kind of helps us, you know, because this can still be an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. So yeah, we just need to be a little bit careful about that. And do we go to base metals? We'll go to base metals next. Actually, I think I will just stay with the gold here for a moment, then do the base metals. And the reason for that is that with silver here, we're turning this into a bullish market. I mean, we're looking at it as bullish. I've just removed the bearishness from this market, that's all. So wave 1 here, wave 2 here. Now with gold has taken this top out here. It hasn't done it here. We had a little long trade here. I don't know if you still want to, if you're going to get out of that, this would be, we're looking, yesterday we'll talk, or over the last few days we've been talking about this being a wave 4, going up here for wave 5 of 3 and 4, and then 5 here for 1, and ABC back, and then up again at this point. So that's where that stands, and this is gold here, so US spot gold. So in the bigger picture here, we're looking at wave 3 of primary, ABC intermediate, 4 primary, 1 and 2 of intermediate, 1 and 2 here. So we're going to see, we've been working this dance across major trading level 2 here for a while. This is a weekly chart, and then we'll see 3, 4, 5. So up at 2,500 for for gold at this point. That would be where that is, and we just need to find the right sort of setup here. I mean, obviously this is a leverage market in the thing, but obviously, you know, NST, NCM, all of those sort of things, they will go for the ride as well. And so we're seeing this as being bullish. And that's kind of interesting, really, because we're starting to see copper become bullish as well. And yesterday we'd seen lithium, a bit of a takeover in lithium, and put a firecracker under the seat of a few of those companies. But so are we bullish? You know, are we looking at a bullish market for some of these resources now? You know, I'm not sure what happened that came out of China on the weekend. I haven't read about that just yet. But you know, it would have to be, you know, like Xi didn't bring them over there to scold them, did he? You know, so there'll be business there for that. Yeah, but anyway, I just wanted to point this out here. So on the daily chart here, we've got that wave 1 here and 2 here. We're looking at, you know, just trying to figure out the best way to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up for 1 and then back for 2, and then, you know, then 1 and 2 are over at that point there. We could do it like that. There's different ways of looking at all of this, but it doesn't really matter which way you count it, because the normal thing is that you would just come up, you would hit this, come back, there'll be the first high above the level, it can go anywhere up here, and then there'll be some sort of check back at this point, and then it'll start to build again at that point. You know, it's something like that. You know, it doesn't really matter if you've got no leverage. You know, it's not a big deal. I mean, it doesn't matter if you've got leverage or you haven't. You still need to, it's still the same money management and the rest of it. But the problem with the leverage is that you're paying for it in overnight financing costs, and that can get very expensive. So, you know, you don't have that, and leverage can kick you out of the game a bit quicker than having no leverage. So this is a long-term trend. So I suggest very strongly that you do not use leverage, and you find yourself into one of the lead leading gold stocks around the world, and one that pays the biggest dividend, of course, as well. That's always always handy. Nice to have some treats on the way. This here, we can go into the 20k. I think that's where we were buzzing around here. So yesterday we talked about having wave 2 here and moving up here. Didn't move up very much, did it? I don't have an impulse wave here just yet for this. So it's only 3 waves up, so could collapse, but I think I need to put that back over here. But anyway, so anyway, we don't have it as support yet. That's kind of the game. But look, buying it back here, you know, in these things, if stock is pulled back, then that's good. So just keep an eye on that. And this is Newcrest mining here. So if those other gold and silver stocks are going to push up, we're going to see this push up here as well. In one way or another, still a bit of a move up here and a move back and then a move up again. That's pretty much like that. So I wouldn't be too fussed about it. I'd just buy it, you know. As we've mentioned before with gold in the bigger picture, and you know, it's really nicely sort of confirming itself with all of these markets. So we might find a top somewhere in there then, perhaps a bit further up. I mean, we'll see. Hasn't really tested the 25 here as much as I'd like it to, but it has done it. Anyway, if you've got just normal stock, it won't matter too much at that point. And I will just go to the dollar here while we're here, and then I'll go do the green metals as such. So we were looking for wave 2 here, low in place, coming back from here as 1, ABC back for 2 here. It is a commodity dollar, but we're still going to bring the US dollar into it as well. We had it as wave 1 and 2, and then 1 in green here with an ABC for 2 here, and that's good. That low held in, and we've seen that push up. Now, I don't have 5 waves up here. We can look at this as 1 and 2, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So I could put wave 3 here, and then I've got wave 4, 5 here for 1, and then an ABC pattern. So this will be our long trade over here. I need that 5 waves up here and the pullback and that setup here. I need that because of where the US dollar is over here, you know. If the US dollar just turns on a dime here and pushes up here, then this move up here will be an A and a B and a C wave up here and then come down at that point. And then we'll have to look at all of this as wave B or wave C or 4 or something or other. You know, we need to move past this 3-wave move, you know, and I need to see an impulse wave moving up here to do that. And then the trade setup will come back in the ABC pattern here. So that's it really for the Australian dollar and that US dollar. So a little bit more time to work itself. Okay, so we're going to have a look at the base metals, and can I go straight to? So this is copper, and this is the futures market here. And what we started to look at yesterday on this 15-minute chart here was that we could count it up as 1 ABC for 2, and then all of this as wave 3 here and 4, and it looks like it's corrective here, as I may have pointed out. So we should see wave 5 here. But the thing about wave 5 here, then that would turn the market into a wave 1, 2. Put that there. Put this here. Lift that up a degree. Okay, so that 5 waves here are going to give us 1 and 2 here for this, and then that will give us, you know, 3, 4, 5 up here. So that's going to be a little bit bullish, but that's not really what I am excited about that, because that's helping me confirm the situation. But what it does also in the bigger picture as well, and this is where the gold comes in, and now we're seeing lithium make a bit of a move. So here with this market here, we'd been looking at it as 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then I got scared, and then I started to talk about an ABC pattern here, and I think rightfully so, maybe a little bit panicky, just justifying myself. So I think we can remove this B wave here and just start focusing on 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And we just started to talk about these in here. I'll just have to remove these here for a moment, just so. So basically what we're looking for here, we're just looking at this as possibly getting a wave 1 here, then there'll be a 2, 3, 4, 5 here. But in the bigger picture scheme of things, this will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for 1, and then back for 2 over here. I've made wave 2 big and scary, and so it should be, but in a nutshell, it'll probably just sit in around the wave 4 there, and then push up that point there. So, you know, that kind of, you know, that suits what we're seeing in China to a point. I mean, the dichotomy of the whole China damn thing is, God, I wish they could just play with the other kids fairly, you know. I mean, it's, we just, you know, we just don't want to see a Cold War or a real war take place. Everybody would, the globe would suffer at that point for sure. Yeah, anyway, just sort of saddening about dictators, isn't it? Anyway, the whole humanity's still a baby. Generations are killing each other all the time. It hasn't sort of changed. Anyway, so the good news is that copper's moving to the upside, and yeah, so that could be sort of bullish, and as they call it, Dr. Copper, that could be, you know, a nice sentiment for everything else that's coming through. Still not good for nickel though. We're seeing nickel have a little bounce off the 500 here. We expected that. If I could take it out of the 15-minute and put it on the daily chart here. I've got no reason to be bullish just yet for all of this, unless I took all that off there. I mean, even if I, you know, even if we wiped out, you know, if we took out the squeeze here for this and had this up here, then I'll still look at this as the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. That's what I was doing, wasn't I? Still didn't, you know, as a C wave, I'd still want to see a low below this one here before we go up. You know, as I mentioned, I could look at this in different ways, and we could end up having a C wave up here for that. But I still want to see an impulse wave here first, and we're far from having that at the moment. You know, it would have to be this wave 4 here, then we'd still need wave 5 here, and you know, it would need. You know, would be need this wave 5, this wave 3, this wave 4 here, and this wave 5. So it may not be as big and bad and ugly as it all seems, but we still technically we'd still really want to come back down to this low here minimum, you know. So I just don't think it's finished here. I mean, it can be, the whole thing can be an A wave, a B wave, and then we go up for a C wave here. That's all doable. But if that was the case, we do need to see a really nice impulse wave coming out of here. Just not, nickel stocks are just not ready. We know that from IGO here as well. And mind you, it was up 6% as well. It sort of took a bit of whiff on that too. But we know that we had 5 waves from here, so I won't, and we're looking for a rally. We certainly got the rally. We'll just let the dust settle and see how that sort of plays out here. I mean, I just don't think I can put the C wave here and look at this as 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5 here. I just don't think I can do that because, you know, when you look at the monthly chart here, as we have before, and it doesn't hurt to have a look at it again, I'm seeing double here, so I think one of these can go to days. Okay, I'll take one off. Oh, still got, I don't know. That's a bit weird. Anyway, I'll sort that out. The main point here is that, you know, we're looking as an A and a B and a C here. I could look at this as wave 1 here, an A, B, C. I could do that. I have to double check this move over here then. But still here, it rings true for me. I mean, I could look at this as an A, B, C, D, and E here. That might even be a bit better. I mean, we did get overlapping wave structures within this space here. Maybe I'll do some homework on that at some point. But you know, the little correction here, even if this was wave 1, even if it wasn't, I mean, it's still such a small move here. I mean, it's good that it's coming down a lower volume. It's telling us that it's corrective at this point. Anyway, the correction just seems a little bit small. I mean, mind you though, this one's been 1, 2, 3, 3.5 here. This has been 3.5. You know, we've already been here for like, how long we've been here? I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 here. Let's just have a look at it on the weekly chart. Unless it's 1 and 2 here and then moving up here, that's possible. I think I did mention that before, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? Like 1 and 2 here. That could be a bit better. And we're in that 61.8%, isn't it? You know, we can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what we'll do, we'll take that on board, and we still need an impulse wave here, though. Do you know what I mean? So we'll let the dust settle on all of these. We'll let the dust settle. If we get an impulse wave up here and we get an ABC back, we'll get a small position and we'll look to continue to build that. But there's no, you know, it's higher risk at this point. But still, I mean, we could end up with, even if we bought that, we could just have an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here, and then get crushed. You know, so the trade that we put in there is will need to be small. Okay, and then we go over to lithium, and we move straight into Liontown here, and this is a daily chart, and this move just left us behind in all of this. I just thought this was corrective here. I'm sorry, I really screwed up, I think. But I wasn't to know that, you know, there was going to be a takeover on this. But that said, the logical way to look at this would be to look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here. So 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. I'll just need to make those into minor waves here. So 1 and 2 here. And this will need to be viewed as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. That's how that will need to be viewed. And we'll need to look up here higher for this. So if this is the length of, bear with me, I'm just going down to this length here, so I'll just eyeball that for a moment there, and then we can just take that, put that there. That will give us wave 3 to that point, and wave 4, and then wave 5 will be up here. So that's what we're looking at, folks. So we won't do anything today on this. Look, it probably will just race up and hit $3. You know, all the people that didn't get into it will get into it. You know, you could do that. Because it took out the top here, it's not really part of a corrective pattern. I mean, we could look at it as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave, or a bigger B wave and then come down. I don't think that's the case, and I think that because of what we looked at with gold and copper, and that's why I went that way around to sort of put us in that bullish mode, and take us out of the bearish mode that I had us in, well, to a point in some of the markets. Yeah, so it really, you know, all of these here, you know, all of these here have all been up, you know, super duper up. So I just think what we'll do today is just let the dust settle. But this one here that's had the offer, I don't know if it was accepted or not. I think Jason did tell me what it was. It wasn't accepted, or I don't know, can't remember. It doesn't matter. But what I can say from an Elliott wave perspective, this is basically what it would be looking like. Okay, the main thing up here is the $5 mark up here. That would be what the focus should be at that point. Now, does wave 3 go to there and wave 5 plays above it here or something of that nature? I'm not quite sure how all that's going to play out, or will it fall short? I don't know. But if China opens up, then, you know, that's sort of half of the world, really, isn't it? You know, not half, but say another third, I guess. So yeah, what was the other ones that he picked up? So CX here. So look, I think I know from experience it's not good to chase these things. It's just good to let them play out a little bit. PLS is another one here. So I mean, do I have to bring this all the way up here? Is that what's going to happen here with this? I mean, we talked about this as equal length before in some way or another. I was looking for a bit more of a low, but maybe the weather's changed. So in this case here, we could look for a classic trading levels pattern on the 4 here, unless something, you know, what could happen here is it could just pump up, or it could just drop, or it'll pump up and eventually just stick to this number here for a while. And when it sticks here, we'll see a trade set up, because we still got to count, you know, we've got to go 1, 2 in here, and this will be a third wave, and, you know, maybe it's topped out, maybe it hasn't, there'll be a fourth and a fifth, and then an ABC, and then that's when we need to pick it up on. So that's what I'm thinking. So most of them will be the same, so I'll just leave it at that and get the video out on time. So yeah, all good in the world. Okay, cheers.